Hi, I'm Ashley.
Hi, I'm Tommy. Welcome to Salon Free. Before this video and beginning your journey to dyeing your hair, it is important to understand that what we are sharing with you are general guidelines.
Anytime you're using chemicals on your hair, it's important to know that things can go wrong. If at any time you're not confident about what to do, how to do it, or if you should do it, please don't do it.
Enjoy the video! Picking out the right box.
It's important to understand that before you buy a box of permanent dye, hair dye can only do so much. Let's go through some box dye essentials. A good understanding of box hair dye will help you to be successful every time you dye your hair.
Let's talk about the names of the dyes and what they really mean. Just because it says light brown does not mean it is always going to come out light brown. There are many different things to consider before you buy that box. If you were painting two walls in your house, one started off white and one started out black, and you put one coat of red paint over each wall, would they turn out the same? Of course not. Hair dye works the same way. You can put the exact same dye on two different people and get two different results. That's the tricky part about hair dye. But for us, it's the fun part. A good rule to stick by is if you've never used a certain brand of dye before, always go a shade lighter than you think. You can always dye your hair darker if you need to, but lightening dyed hair, it's a lot harder than you might think. Let's talk about what the name actually means.
Oh, what's the difference between golden, ash, auburn, and so on? Pay attention to the name of the dye on the box. For example, light brown. There is light brown, light golden brown, light ash brown, cool light brown, caramel light brown. I mean, the list goes on. So, what are the keywords here? Light brown.
If you picture light brown dye as a cheese pizza, and the goldens, ashes, and auburns, they're like the toppings. Light brown dye is just like that pizza. It's just up to you to pick the topping you like. If your hair is 100% gray, you would probably look really gorgeous in a golden or caramel shade. You can even buy two boxes and mix them together. If you are under the age of 25, you can probably pull off any color. Oh, the benefits of being young. If you feel like your hair is brassy, you need an ash dye. It's funny because ash and gold are the two words that we hear from our clients and our students that they hate. It is usually just because they misunderstand. All dyes are great dyes. You just have to know how to use them. But that's what Salon Free hopes to bring to you.
So now you know that you're gonna start off with the shade lighter than you think you want. You're gonna start with that cheese pizza. And now you just need to pick the toppings. What else is there to consider?
Well, how about the type of dye to use? If you have checked out Salon Free's video on choosing the right dye, you already have a pretty good idea if you are looking for a permanent dye or not. Remember, when going darker, it's not always necessary to use a permanent dye.
Okay, lastly, let's go over trying to make your hair lighter using dye. This is very easy if you've never dyed your hair before. It's as easy as opening the box of permanent dye and applying the dye. If you've ever dyed your hair before and you want to make it a lighter shade, stop, drop, scroll over to Salon Free's video on how to change your dyed hair a new shade, titled Out with the Old, In with the New.
We hope we have helped you believe in yourself enough to dye your hair at home.
Please feel free to email us with any questions. Visit the Contact Us page at salonfree.com.
It is important to read and follow all directions on or in the box. This includes doing a patch test and a strand test. Thank you for watching.
Have a beautiful day.